Hi everyone, welcome to this short introduction about Linux, Shell, and Terminal. My name is Frank. I am the TA for the Intro to Bioinformatics course this semester. So the reason why I made this pre-recorded video is basically to give an overview of those commonly used Linux commands. Because throughout the course, we'll be using a series of bioinformatics tools and will require a little bit knowledge about or at least some familiarity of how to run things through command line instead of the graphic interface that we are familiar with in our day-to-day work. So if you are familiar with the Linux command, feel free to skip this tutorial. But if this is something that sounds new to you, it is highly recommended to check this out. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention is what is terminal. In your Mac or Windows PC, there should be a small window called terminal, looks like that. But what it is exactly, so to understand that, let's kind of try to re-understand the computer or our laptop. So our computer is actually consisting of three different layers in an abstract way. The inner circle is called kernel. It consists of hardware, scheduler memory, as the name speaks for itself, is the most essential part of a computer. Then a little bit outside, we have this circle called shell. What shell does is basically a media that tries to handle all the communication between the user's input all the way into the kernel and instruct the computer what I need to do. But for most of the time, we don't need to worry about kernel and shell because there are a lot of well-built applications on top of that. For example, web browser or Finder. So if you need to go to a specific drive, you need to open a web page, you just need to click and drag or paste the URL. That's what we usually do in most of the time, and we're totally fine. But for example, specifically in bioinformatics, a lot of time we do not have those beautiful graphical interface. So we need to find alternative way to instruct the kernel to do what we wanted to do. And the approach is through terminal. So the terminal is a window to kind of communicate with this shell, and in turn to relay our instruction to the kernel itself. So that is kind of an introduction of what is terminal. And what I want to mention is that, as I just described, so what we're going to do through the terminal is exactly the same purpose that we usually do through clicking and dragging. As they're just doing exact similar thing, in the next few minutes, I will basically show you how those Linux commands are related to the operation that we're familiar with. So now I am opening my Finder, and I am now in the page of my desktop, and you can see all the folders that are listed on my desktop. So on in the terminal, how should I access the desktop and display all the available folder and files? So the first thing that we need to do is to figure out where we are. We use pwd to get a sense about where we are in the whole computer file system. And then we use cd command to switch different locations. And here we are going to go to the desktop. And just some background knowledge, the one dot means current directory, and two dots means the previous directory. So if we using two dots and check the pwd again, we are back to my home directory. Okay, so now let's go to the desktop again. And to list all the available file or folder, we just need to do ls. or we can do the long version, all the file, including the hidden file, and make it as a human readable way. So you can see we have all the visible file and invisible file. And we have some additional information, including the permission, who owns this file, and what is the size and last modification timestamp for each file and folder. So another thing that I wanted to mention is a very useful, handy command called clear. When you click clear, it basically will clear the whole terminal. So it kind of restart everything instead of looking at all the messy output from the previous types. So that is kind of the first part, how to navigate the file system. As you see, it is really the same as what we will do through clicking and dragging. And another thing that I wanted to kind of demonstrate is how to read and write file. So to illustrate that, let's again first figure out where we are. We're at desktop. Now let's kind of create a new file. And to create a new file, there are several different ways, and I am showing you one of them, which is in cat command. Cat, and now we're using a greater than symbol, and we specify a name. For example, here we're using file.txt. Now you can see what happened. So there's a new file called file.txt that immediately pop up in our Finder. So we create a new file. And then let's just randomly type something into this file. This is for Intro to Bioinformatics course. And then when you try to, if you're trying to end this session, you just need to type Control+D. Now we're here. And then to just, if you wanted to view or read the file that we just created, again, we can use cat. But here we don't need to use the greater than symbol anymore. We just need to use the cat command. So you can see we can read the simple text file we just created. And another thing that I wanted to mention is sometimes you don't have to create the file and input the content of it through your command line. For example, we can just create a file using touch command. And then we can just open it through our graphical system. And now you can add whatever you want to add. This is another file. And then you basically save it. Now you can use your cat command to view it again. Oh, so you can see this is the content that we just typed in into the file. So again, let's clear the session. Another thing I want to show you is we just covered how to read and create the file, but what if we wanted to modify the files? There are several ways to do that. I will first show you the most difficult way, but you will benefit a lot from learning that, which is using Vim. So Vim is a built-in text editor. And to kind of learn how to use that, we're not going to go into detail, just let you get a sense about how to use this tool. So for example, we wanted to modify this file. And as you can see, we just opened it, right? But in terms of, but how are we going to modify that exactly? So what we need to do is to just click your I, lowercase I in your keyboard. Now we are in the insert mode. Now we can basically just using your arrow key to navigate through the whole file and see you can add anything you want. This is to demonstrate the usage of Vim. And then to exit the insert mode, you need to click your escape key on your keyboard. And now the whole file has been locked. You cannot modify anymore. What you need to do now is basically to save that. To save that, you just need to type in the semicolon and W. Now it has been saved. Another thing is to exit the Vim program. So semicolon and Q. Here we go. So that is basically how to modify a file through Vim. Let's clear it again. Okay, now I'm showing you another way to write to the file, which is using Nano. You can kind of think Nano is another program similar to Vim. Let's just open this file.txt again. As you can see, it has slightly different interface, but what's good about it is you don't need to worry about this insert mode anymore, because you can literally type anything just directly here. So we just add a third line. This is to demonstrate. So we have a typo. Demonstrate the usage of Nano. And to save that, we need to click Control plus X, and then just follow the prompt. Yes, yes. Now let's view this file again. As you can see, we modified that through both Vim and Nano, and that marks the end of the read-writing session for the file manipulation. And then we are going to talk a little bit about some common file or directory manipulation that we'll be using. The first thing is how to create a folder. Through terminal, what we can do is by using mkdir command. So let's create a folder, name the folder, and enter. So you can see we have a new folder here on the left-hand side in the Finder. And another thing that we wanted to do is how to copy the file. To copy the file, we use cp command. And see, we wanted to copy the file.txt to our newly generated folder. And here we go. We go to the folder and see the file has been copied here. And another thing is, can we kind of copy a folder to another location? The answer is yes. So here now we first create another folder that's called folder 1. And then we just need to do, and we wanted to copy the folder 1 all the way to the folder. Here you can see, let's go to our folder again. You can see folder 1 has been copied here. And similarly, we also wanted to know how to move files. So to move files, what we need to do is to mv command and file1.txt to the folder. Now you can see the file 1 has been moved to the folder. And then the same thing, we can also move the folder, the whole folder to another folder. You can see now we have the folder has been moved to our expected directory. And the last thing I wanted to show you is how to remove files. So to remove, we use rm command. And let's say we wanted to remove this file.txt. Now it has been removed. How to remove a folder? We just need to use this -r argument. Say we wanted to remove this folder. we just need to do that. As you can see, the folder has been removed. So that is basically the commonly used Linux command through terminal. I hope this short video can give you a sense about how those commands is related to our common operation through graphical interface, and hopefully it can prepare you better for the bioinformatics course. Okay, thank you for watching.